So here's where we might disagree because um, I think you have me on the practical side, but I still don't. I'm still not convinced of the intrinsic side, right? So the way I think you're using morality is in a practical sense. Am I right about that?
Hmm.
Okay, yeah. That's a big thing that I think many people get confused, and it also confuses me depending on how they use morality, because that's like the biggest divide. The two paths morality can take is practical and intrinsic, and
Oh my God,
people
you have
always
bro. You
mix
haven't
those
got,
up, and it
there's a
confuses the hell out of
lecture.
me.
Oh, you haven't got to this lecture yet. So Peikoff rejects the practical moral dichotomy. By the way, that's why.
So okay, so
But
this is why Zulu says that he doesn't separate them; he keeps them as one.
they're the same thing. Yeah.
Okay,
They're two aspects of the same achieve. They're two aspects of the same thing.
okay. So I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to tell you why, and then I want you to see if you can convince me otherwise. The reason
Okay.
why I divorce these two and the way and that I can't see them as one is because when we say that something's intrinsically valuable, that means it is self-justifying in its value and there's some reason for this. I'm not entirely convinced there's a way, there's a justification or there's some evidence that you can prove that would make that thing value in and of itself, independent of human existence.
It's self-valuable. So you said it's self-valuable justified by something else?
Yeah, so when we're talking about like intrinsic morality, we're talking about something that is valuable in and of itself, independent of humanity.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, that's the problem. Um, so think about it. I'm gonna give you the example in which something is intrinsically valuable, and then we can like deconstruct the like philosophy behind it. Okay.
Okay.
So if you have a positive, let's do this exercise. Okay. Let's define a positive experience. Okay. What is a
Okay.
positive experience?
Something that gives me pleasure.
That's true, but it is true that it gives you pleasure. But what is pleasure? A positive experience, right?
Yeah.
Right. So the point I'm making is you cannot define pleasure with other terms. Okay. Or you specifically you can't define you cannot define positive experience any more than just being able to point at it, right?
Got it. You're
Like
saying positive experience is the base level. It's the foundation.
exactly. So it's what's called ostensive. It's learned from observation. Okay. Now here's the point. Whenever I say something is a positive experience versus a negative experience, what does it mean to say an experience is positive versus negative? Now, what my answer to this is that positive experiences are inherently motivating and negative experiences are inherently dismotivating.
Okay.
Okay? Now, here's where the value stuff comes in. When I say you should pursue this thing, what am I asking? Like, what am I asking about? Like, if I said, why should I pursue such and such, what would you tell me?
Um
Like, literally give any example. Like, if I were to ask you, like, why would you live tomorrow? Like, why should you wake up tomorrow and go out and, like, live your life? Why should you do that?
are you asking me personally or are you asking
Both. It's the same thing.
um so the immediate answer would be because like I value positive experiences or something like that, right? If we're to break it down.
It's more fundamental than that.
Um, so that's like the problem. I don't know the answer to that
Yeah,
question.
no, yeah, right, bro. It's like hitting you, bro. Here's what it is, right? Whenever you ask for a reason to do something, you're asking for a motivation.
Yeah.
Whenever I ask you why should you live tomorrow, you know you're gonna tell me, oh my god, think
I,
about all your friends and your family and all your loved ones, all the things you can do. What am I describing to you? I'm describing to you positive experiences. So
right.
my view is that normative concepts, right? So oughts, values, norms, all of those things are based in the concepts that we form of a positive and a negative experience. Okay. So if we understand positive experiences at the root of normative language, then when you ask, why should I do anything? The answer is, well, to have positive experiences, right? And what that means for morality is you can ask, well, are positive experiences inherently good? Well, by good there, the concept of good depends on the concept of positive experiences, right? So, in that sense, yeah, positive experiences are inherently good.
Yeah, but positive experiences are only good in the perspective of the experiencer.
Exactly. So the point is that
But that's an
positive,
is.
yeah, it's right. It's an is that determines it not. It's the fact that certain things are pleasurable that determine that you ought do them.
Okay. Well, so okay, hear me out on this. Okay, so I was trying to logically deduce and you disagree with this, but I I don't even know where to start by saying this. I have this innate feeling, and that's the disgusting fucking vile word that just came from my mouth, feeling. This what would I call it? A
Intuition.
intuition. An intuition that the reason for life is autonomy. The reason for life is independence to act in a way that only you can. And I can't
No,
necessarily
that's definitely
justify
wrong.
this in any logical way. Sorry, what were you saying?
Yeah, it's definitely wrong for sure.
Yeah. And so I can't logically justify this in any way. And the reason why I believe this is I think it's a modus tollens argument where the negation is true, right? Or I don't even know if that's the right use of that.
You negate
But
the consequence, so you negate the. Yeah, I get it.
yeah, exactly. And so it's this idea that I tried my best to prove that pleasure is the reason for existence, but I can't find myself accepting this. And the reason for this is because throughout the history of humanity, there have been plenty of people that have lived and they have had far more negative experiences in their life than positive experiences. And logically, if their end goal was positive experiences, and if my end goal is positive experiences, if you are living a life of suffering, then the logical end to this would be self-deletion.
I see.
And
Okay,
this is
yeah, right. I can get around this. Oh, okay.
okay.
Yeah. So the first thing is that recognize that human beings are not infallible. Okay. So if it's the case that we accept that the reason to live are positive experiences, suppose that's true, it does not follow that every human being believes that and will act on that. Okay? Because moral theories are theories about the facts about what's actually good and bad, not what people think is good and bad and how they live. Okay? Um, the second thing is that whenever you identify people as suffering, from those people's perspective, from their context, that might actually be a good life comparatively to what's around them. You know what I mean? So, for example, like if I compared myself to like a European child back in the day, obviously that life sucks. For the European child, life is good. Shit is sweet. That's just the best life can get. You know what I mean? So it's contextual too. But the last thing is that even if you experience suffering, the fact that the world is a place where you can have joy and you can achieve what you want is a reason to continue living. So this is like such a troll answer, but like the reason you should continue living even if there's lots of suffering is because you should be optimistic.
Optimistic that
Like,
things get, and that well, to be clear, that is the reason why I continue living.
why you should, yeah.
Okay. Well, that's the reason I continue to live, because of hope, right? I hope that things will get better. I hope that one day I will,
Oh,
build a
not just that.
family and community
It's
and
it's not
strong.
just hope. It's not just hope. It's rational too. It's rationally grounded. It's not that I hope like, oh, I wish this happens. It's the fact that I know that life is capable of being better. It's not just like a feeling I have. Like it is literally true that life can get better.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not just hope. I want to clarify because a lot of people think of hope as like, if the situation's impossible, I should still be optimistic. It's like, what the fuck? That's stupid.
I just mean hope in the terms of I believe that it's possible that things will get better.
Okay, yes, then yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, but the point is that that's objective.
It's objectively true that I do have hope. Now, whether I
It's
ought to
objectively
have
true
hope
that,
is
no,
but
it's objectively true that you should have hope.
okay. Well, so here's the big question that I asked Zulu that I don't think he gave me a very satisfying answer. And you I want to see if you give this a go. But basically I was asking him the question, why should I live? Why should I value life?
Yeah, wonderful. So I want to really quick say that my answer to this question is not canonical objectivism. Okay.
Okay.
So I think that Peikoff and Ayn Rand would 100% agree with what I said, but what I'm about to say is my thoughts that I created after reading Objectivism. So the reason you should live is because of enjoyment. The reason to live is because of positive emotional experiences. And if you ask me, why should I live for positive emotional experiences? The problem is your concept stealing. Because when you ask why live, you're asking what positive experiences are there to positive experiences. And of course, that question is just like trivially true.
So what if the
You
most
see,
positive experience is like eternal peace?
eternal peace. What do you mean?
Death?
Death is not eternal peace
Why not?
because death is non-existence. Death is
True.
not a thing that exists. Like, you do not exist if you're dead. Like, death is not like a different. Death is not a different type of existence. Death is non-existence.
Correct. So there's no experience to be had.
Exactly. That's why it's not valuable.
And there's no word to describe non-existence. So the closest word I use to describe it, because there's no word to describe it, is I would call it peace, because that seems to be the closest word to explain what it is, even though I
It's not.
understand it's not what it is. Yeah.
Well, no, it's not the closest word. It's actually it'd be false to say that death is peace because peace is a state of consciousness. Peace is something. Like, the problem is you're trying to define nothing. Like, you're literally trying to define nothing into existence. Nothing is not something. There is no definition you can give to non-existence. It's not a thing. It possesses no definition. I feel like young
So
Sheldon explained it. Zero is not a number, but
so then what do you so then hmm. Okay. So should we try to escape death?
um, yeah, of course.
So would you say death is not preferable?
Yeah,
Hmm.
in most cases,
Okay.
like, yeah. So whenever I say that people should kill themselves, it is under a specific sense of the term. It's not a positive obligation to kill yourself. It's actually just the negative of living. I don't think there are positive experiences to be gained by killing yourself.
I
I
agree.
just think that there's
Because
no
there's no
more
experience to
experience.
be gained. Yeah.
Exactly. There's just no experiences that are worth having in life. So there's no point anymore, and you'll naturally die.
So that's neither a positive or a negative thing, right? Wait,
Death is
no.
a negative thing. Death is a negative thing, assuming, uh, assuming that life is worth living. Yeah. Now, obviously, if your
Hmm.
life is not worth living, then nothing is positive or negative, because life is what
So
makes things positive or negative.
okay. So what would you say about a person who absolutely knows, they know for certain, and this is just a hypothetical, obviously, but they know for certain that their negative experiences will outweigh their positive experiences? Would you still say that this person should not choose self deletion?
If their positive experiences are outweighed by negative,
Yeah.
um,
So, like, if somebody was born
no, I
into a
don't.
life
I
of,
don't. I don't think that. I think that. So the first thing is that I think the world is a place where even if your life is surrounded by lots of suffering. There are lots of good things about it, and those things are worth living for throughout the struggle. However, I will say that there is, and I couldn't tell you like the percent or something, but there is definitely a threshold at which, if life becomes unlivable, if an enjoyable life is unlivable, then life is not worth living.
Okay.
So I would agree. Sometimes killing yourself is justified. So a case like that might be like, you know, the asteroid is hitting tomorrow. It's hitting the Earth tomorrow. Now your lover and your family, they're already dead. You have no friends. You just exist in this like house. You got nothing going on. Ain't shit to do.
No internet.
No internet. Even in that scenario, I would say that you should continue to live, because the cataclysm of an asteroid might be beautiful, but aside from like those things, like to find reasons to live, it's at least conceivable that there's literally nothing good about life anymore. So you should kill yourself. Like,
Okay. So, okay, so sometimes death is preferable then.
no, sometimes living isn't preferable. Death is never preferable. Sometimes living just isn't preferable.
Sure. I mean, that's a different way of saying it. I would just say that like death is preferable to life, meaning that you would choose death over life in that situation.
Which is, it's wrong to say. It's wrong to say that it's. I mean, okay, sure, I'll say preferable. It's fine. It's not that. Yeah. Sometimes it is.
Bro, libertarians are, and this is nothing against you. This is great because when I was like getting into all this, libertarians have an entire different vocabulary, like, and it's crazy, dude. It's so
Well, some of
crazy
them do.
to.
I think I have like a normal vocabulary.
Yeah. You've been mostly cool. But like, it's just funny, like seeing libertarians talk. Like, for example, like state. The word state is like there's so much combat about
It's
the meaning
literally
of
just
this.
libertarian philosophy is like almost entirely made up. So
Yeah.
it's like actually just fucking made up from nothing. So
Well, as the
yeah,
as the great Andrew Wilson once said, everything is a social contract.
no, but that's the point though. So it's wrong to characterize. So a quick recap: pleasure is inherently good to somebody. Pleasure does not exist out there in a vacuum. Pleasure is pleasure to a person. In that sense, pleasure is inherently good to me. And because pleasure is what makes everything else good, then there's an objective base, an objective root to morality. And so things can be said to be objectively bad because those means are not consistent with achieving pleasure. When it comes to politics, politics is the study about the terms and conditions of a society. And so a proper society would be a society in which the terms and conditions are pro individual flourishing. And in that society, conflicts would be resolved.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you this. I definitely believe that you crossed the ought is gap. So I believe that you figured out a way to make um the things that we value, we ought to pursue I don't even know how to say it the right way, but basically the case you made before.
What something is determines what it ought to do, bro.
See, that's what I don't understand because I can't
Here's
if
why,
I
bro.
was
Here's
able to
why.
write it down, I
Here's
can't.
why. There's actually a dichotomy. There's a further dichotomy. So you're talking about the is ought dichotomy, right?
Yeah.
So the actual dichotomy, if you wanted to reduce it even further, is a fact value dichotomy. But values are a type of fact.
Yeah, that's
Problem.
true. That's true.
So if we understand they're not a dichotomy, it's not a dichotomy, then there is no is ought gap because one is just a type of like values are a type of fact. Now, of course, there's a fire truck value dichotomy. But
Okay.
if I'm trying to say, well, this is the way reality is, and this is the way that it should be, you can't. The two are unrelated. It's like, what the hell? The way that reality should be is a type of fact. It's grounded in facts. It's grounded in facts about a life of enjoyment. It's grounded in facts about well-being and pleasure. What someone ought to do is determined by what is pleasurable.
Interesting. So,
Yeah.
do you believe that there's an objective truth about everything in the universe, even things that we don't know about yet?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Because I used to say this, but it's like, even if you think about it, subjective perspectives, or what we would call subjectivism, kind of relies on the idea of objectivism, because things that are subjectively perceived are objectively true. It's like objectively true that you perceive something that specific way, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why I disagree with
That's why you
talking
disagree
about.
with subjectivism. Like, subjectivism doesn't actually exist. It's kind of a word to explain a
There's a
deeper
word.
objectivism that we don't
Yeah.
understand yet.
Well, there's a word. There's actually a word for it, though. My perception. So, for example, suppose that you're standing 15 feet away from a basketball net, and I'm standing 10 feet away, right? Now, suppose that we have like this exact same like biological features. Okay, like we have the same like ability to see. It's going to appear differently to us, right?
Right.
Now, the appearance of the basketball net is an objective fact. But what kind of fact is it? It's not a subjective fact because it exists because of facts. It's a relative fact. It's an it's an objective relationship that I have. And so it's wrong to say, well, my perception is subjective. No, it's not. Your perception is objective relative to you. So
True.
whenever I say the basketball feet is 15 feet away, from who? You know what I mean? So it's objective.
Yeah. Yep. No, that's absolutely true. Oh shit. Yeah, that's crazy. But so I don't want to keep circling back to this, but also I can't I can't see why it's objectively true that people ought to live. I can't see that.
Well, here's why. When I say someone ought to live, what am I saying?
You're
I'm saying this is
saying
a
you
means
should.
that achieves pleasurable experiences. It's
Mhm.
means to end. That's all it is. And ought is
But
just
why are positive? I know you're gonna say I'm stealing the concept. Why value positive experiences? Because
what is the value?
a value is a positive experience.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm stealing the concept. So when I question why should I value a positive
And so
experience, I'm stealing the
here's what will help you out.
concept.
Here's what will help you out. Like, yeah, you get the philosophy, but just like kind of forget the abstract thinking and kind of just think about it like this. Think about times in your day-to-day life when you give reasons as to why someone should do something. Okay? And ask questions, and ultimately there's gonna be a point where you're like, oh, it's just because it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you understand that, you kind of be honest with yourself in the way you think, then you can understand the philosophy and say, well, normative concepts like good and bad and ought and ought not and value and disvalue, those are just, complicated, but very efficient and good, and well, that's good, in very efficient and clear ways of describing pleasurable experiences relating to how we should act. The reason, this is what it is.
Okay, so if I were to say that I want to not live, would you say that I'm wrong about this? Because what I'm trying to do is maximize my pleasure, and I would, in fact, just be incorrect about my way of going to maximize my pleasure?
Exactly.
Okay.
Whoa, real quick. The point is that so there is two types of egoism. There's ethical egoism and there's psychological egoism. I do not believe that
Unethical egoism.
psychological ego. No. I believe in ethical egoism.
Oh, it's the other way.
Yeah, I don't believe in psychological egoism. I
Well,
don't believe everybody acts in ways that are conducive to their self-interest or for it. I think people have the ability, because they have free will, to pursue things that are bad for bad reasons. And so,
Okay, so
for
that's
example,
interesting. I think we disagree with this because, and I know you don't completely agree with praxeology, but like, I don't believe that someone can do something that they don't prefer to do. So like every
well,
single choice you make
yeah,
will be
yeah,
something
okay,
that you prefer.
okay, yes, but I want to clarify that the praxeological sense of preference literally just means what people act to do. So, of course, I agree with praxeology that people do what they do. Duh. what I
Duh.
disagree with, what I disagree with, is that what people want to do when they act is pursue positive experiences. I disagree with that.
You're saying that they're not always aligned with their higher value.
Exactly. People can be in error.
Okay. It doesn't, I don't know if praxeology says this, but I know like an economist says that um, man's actions are not always aligned with his higher goal because he's working with the information that he has. He's working with
No,
limited
it's those
information.
those explanations are retarded. Um,
What?
that's wrong. Like, you can have limited information and be correct. Everybody has limited information. That doesn't mean everybody's incorrect.
No, no. I think it's saying the other way. I think they're saying that they would they would achieve their higher value if they had the correct information.
I don't think that's true either.
Really?
If by correct information they mean held true beliefs, then yeah, of course. But here's the problem, ready for this? All of the information to live a good life is literally right in front of you. You have all the information already. Like whenever I talk to you, you learn nothing. Nothing that I didn't that I've told you is not already implicit in your understanding. I'm literally just like identifying things that are implicit of what you already know. So you already have that information. Now, if you want to say their beliefs are true, yeah, okay. If everyone had true beliefs, true beliefs. Yes, that's.
Justified true beliefs.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah.
But point is though that if you ask me, why ought somebody do such, you have to understand. Whenever I say you ought to X, I'm identifying this action is contributive towards achieving a life of enjoyment. That's what it means to say something. You ought to do something. Now, I want to say it another way too. I'm about to plug someone who literally does not even know I exist, but it's fine. There's a guy, his name is J.D. Rich. He wrote a book called Praxeological Ethics. He runs the Austrian Economic Discord server. And this guy, in this book, says something beautifully. And I like actually hate most libertarians, okay? And
Okay.
I low-key don't even agree with the majority of the book. But he says something which is correct. He says, all ethical statements can be reduced down to praxeological statements. That's true. Whenever I say you ought to do something, I'm saying there exists this thing, there exists an actor. The actor's values commit, or this thing is consistent with satisfying this values. So I think he's right there.
Okay. Damn, that's interesting.
Yeah,
Damn, you're a smart guy.
appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, this is why I wanted to get into this whole online sphere. I'm gonna tell you a bunch of random bullshit that doesn't even matter, but my entire life I've always been interested in like finding truth and like understanding how the world works. And the original reason for that is because I wanted to be like powerful because I was a fucking edgy teenager because I thought power was the coolest thing ever. So I wanted to be powerful. But as got older, I realized that what I'm actually searching for is not power, but it's a something deeper, like a satisfaction with my existence.
Yeah,
And
you're seeking for a life of enjoyment. Trademark pending.
yeah, right. I was seeking positive experiences, and so I've always had like these thoughts and questions, and like I've always wanted to talk with people. But the one of my biggest problems is that like everybody I know, they totally don't get me. Like they just don't understand me. They don't know what I'm talking about whenever I try to talk with people. And I hate small talk. I hate talking about boring things. All I care about is like,
I have crazy autism as well.
okay. I might actually be the first non-autistic
I'm,
debate bro.
I'm not I'm not autistic, by the way. That was a troll. I'm
I
not.
know, I know. You're joking. But yeah, I just that's one of the cool things about like just putting yourself online. Obviously, it takes a really big leap of faith and like trying to find people, but that's it's really interesting. It's cool to find people that also are very introspective and they care about like deeper things than like I don't know, brainless small talk and stuff like that.
I'll actually tell you why your experiences have been like that on Discord.
Why do you think
Um,
so?
so this is not like this is not ego driven, but it's important to say this. I think most debaters are just not smart enough to be able to do what I'm doing. So a lot of the people when they talk to other people, their focus in the conversation is very, very, very. I'm going to use this word in like a really informal way because it contradicts everything I just said. Like if you interpret it a certain way, very selfish. Okay.
But like the
um,
negative connotation of selfishness.
yeah, yeah. So their
Yeah.
goal in the conversation is like,
Expedience.
yeah, yeah. Their goal in the conversation is to maintain having everything that I said being true, instead of opening up the ideas to possible objections and then working with them to try to integrate the other person. And so what happens a lot of the time is you'll notice this, right? These other people, when you talk to them, they'll have like this fucking empire of definitions. Um, and they'll ask you for your definition and they'll ask you for like defending it and stuff. But you'll notice the distinction between that and what I'm doing is when I have definitions and I'll tell you what they mean. And when you give me objections or the other alternative views of talking about it, I'm able to like we're able to like work together to like establish a common meaning of the term, and it actually leads to what I'm saying, right? So the difference is that my focus in the conversation is not to preserve everything I've said is true, even though that is what happens. My goal is to like get you on the same page of understanding as I am. And so when you debate people, their goal is not to help you. Their goal is normally just to it's like implicitly like what I just described. Now, here's when I say they're not smart enough to do what I'm doing. You have to be like smart enough to recognize how to do that. I don't remember when I learned how to do it. It was like there was just a point where like I just was like, holy shit, wait. Other people like mean something differently. But me and other people live in the same world. So we can like come to common understanding. And you'll notice that I'm not anyway, yeah, it's literally just I don't think they're smart enough to grasp the things I just
Okay.
talked about.
Do you
That's
think it's I agree with you on some level, but there's also like a lot of bad faith people.
right, right,
Um
right.
so I agree with that, and I think that there's a lot of bad faith people. And ironically, I'm on the other side of things where I know this sounds a little egotistical, but I actually think that I'm a really smart person, but I
I agree.
really suck. I really suck at debates, and I suck at like improvisational speech.
No,
So I
so
can fucking cook you my notebook, but I'm not really great when I come face to face against you.
yeah, let me go ahead and quick little plug for anyone who does not know me. So my actual name is Liam. If you don't know.
Oh,
So
okay.
I just graduated high school. Um,
Congratulations.
Breach. But so I did debate in high school.
Oh, nice.
Um, so a lot of my like clarity and my ability to present ideas is from that. Um, so I won without getting too nasty into my achievements. I won a state championship in debate. Uh,
Damn, really?
yeah, I got second in another one. Uh,
What was the
I went to
topic?
So I did policy debate the championship that I won. So it was over geopolitics.
I suck
It had to
at
do
I
with,
suck at geopolitics.
yeah, it was geopolitics. I got second in congressional debate, which is like a bunch of topics. Anyway, the point though is that whenever I say people aren't smart enough, I'm not saying that they lack the capacity. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that intelligence is not strictly substance, i.e., philosophical ideas. Intelligence is also like dialectical intelligence, like your intelligence in a conversation. So a really easy example is, Jordan Peterson?
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy's beliefs are like insanely stupid.
Okay.
But he's very good at presenting. He's very smart in a conversation. So he's like very good at rhetoric, but not very good at substance. So
Okay, you're gonna if you follow my channel, you're gonna hate one of my upcoming videos. Because I actually
yeah,
ask why so many people hate Jordan Peterson. And I understand what you're saying. I get what you're saying. You're saying
he's
Jordan
a yapper.
Peterson is he's a talk. I guess the way you would say this is he's not a dialectic. He's a what's the other word?
Office?
No, you wouldn't say he's a sophist, would you?
No, but that's typically what's contrasted with.
Well,
My
the contrast I'm talking about is because I read one of like Plato's works, and the differentiation that Plato, and I know we hate Plato, I know that the differentiation Plato makes is dialectics and what's the other word? The debate word. Um, what's the word?
thought it
It's
was a sophist.
dialectics. A sophistry, yeah, sophistry is obviously like guys that wrap up their words. They try to play with philosophical ideas, but they either don't know what they're talking about or they're bad faith. But they're good with like vocabulary and stuff like that. They're good in presenting their ideas to make them interesting. And that word is I forget what the word is, but the idea is that there are people who are dialectical, and that the meaning could have a difference, 4,000 years ago
Yeah, yeah,
compared to
yeah, yeah.
now. But Plato defined dialectical as someone who is able to truthfully engage in like meaningful truth seeking. And then the other word, which I forget
Oh,
what
I
it
think
is
Jordan Peterson is able to do that. I just don't think he's good at doing it.
oh, okay, okay. So do you think he's smart, but he has bad presentation?
No, I think he's a smart guy. Like he has the capacity to say true things. He just believes stupid things, and he's good at saying it.
Okay, okay. I don't know any of his deeper things. Like you might disagree with like his theological stuff, and I will agree with you. He does get rambling sometimes. He definitely
He's
gets
a fucking
rambling.
yeah. Oh, he says a lot of nothing. I mean, so Jordan Peterson
Yeah.
actually went to OCon and
What is that?
the Objectivist conference.
Oh, okay. Nice, based and objective.
Oh no, he got absolutely fucking obliterated there.
Oh, really? Did he like
Yeah,
debate someone or?
yeah, he did, bro. There's like a whole thing I can get onto it. You might have to look it up.
Yeah, I wanna look this up at some point. Okay, so he got obliterated.
Yeah, he got obliterated.
Oh, okay. I mean, I don't think that's and it's interesting because I saw one of Jordan Peterson's like recent debates against Destiny, and dude, this is what hurts my
He
mind
got
so
fucked
bad.
on, bro. He got fucked on so bad.
Okay, I mean I believe wait by Destiny?
Yes,
No, I disagree with that. I disagree
he
with that.
got obliterated by.
Um, because the thing is, what is it? What was I saying? So Jordan Peterson brought up a ton of libertarian ideas in that debate. And I'm not saying he is libertarian, but he did kind of fight against Destiny's more, like socialist authoritarian takes. But what always hurts my brain is that conservatives are like incomplete libertarians, and libertarians are like incomplete anarcho-capitalists. And that's what always hurts my brain because that's the things that they value, but they're not fully willing to commit with those ideas. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
yeah. It's also. I mean, I just hate libertarianism, bro. Oh my god.
Okay, so what's your problem? What exactly is your problem with libertarianism? And what
The
I
fact
know
that
you're an
it's
objectivist, but what legal system would you advocate for?
I would advocate for a constitutional republic.
Really?
Yeah.
Don't isn't democracy bad though?
No,
What?
that's like a fucking ANCAP myth.
Sorry, I'm trying to process this right now because it's crazy to me. So, would you consider yourself a conservative? A conservative?
No, just fuck no.
A Republican?
No,
What do you consider? What do you consider yourself?
I'm a capitalist.
Okay. What a fucking non-answer. So
I'm
you're
a
a
radical for
capitalist.
capitalism.
So then why aren't you an anarcho-capitalist if you are a capitalist?
It's a contradiction.
Why is that a contradiction?
Capitalism presupposes a certain political system, and that political system is a constitutional republic.
Well, anarcho-capitalism wants to get rid of everything but capitalism.
Yeah, that's not. It's a misusage of the term capitalism to call that capitalism.
I don't understand. The capitalism is the free market.
No, no, no. That's the economic component of capitalism. Capitalism is a social, economic, and political system. The problem with anarcho-capitalism is it tries to understand capitalism as just market economics. But capitalism is more than that.
Wait, what is
Capitalism is
it?
a view about society
It's a view
as a
about
whole.
society? I mean, I don't disagree with that, but you don't think that the ideal society is a free market?
I believe that a free market is a component of the ideal society.
Do you think it's a means to achieving the ideal society?
No, I think it's literally a component of it. Like, part of what an ideal society is free.
Can we get to an ideal society without capitalism?
Capitalism is the ideal society.
Fuck you, bro.
Free
I don't even
market,
know.
laissez-faire economics is not capitalism.
Okay,
Laissez-faire economics is a
are you doing the leftist brain rot like capitalism is corporatism thing, or
no.
what are you talking about?
It goes back to what I was saying about politics. It's broader than what you're thinking.
Okay. So when I
Capitalism is
say
not strictly an economic theory. It's a political theory.
so how do you define capitalism?
The social, economic, and political system predicated on the recognition of individual rights.
What trumps does democracy trump individual rights?
Democracy is pro-individual rights.
Wait, that's not necessarily true because if we have a democracy, what if they vote away the individual rights?
Uh, Again, they're talking about a specific type of monarchy or democracy. Like, I'm in favor of a constitutional republic. So you can't vote away the Constitution.
But so if you had like because I guess I don't understand what you're talking about democracy. So okay, let me say it like this. The way I see capitalism is the purest form of democracy. Not political democracy, what I would call market democracy, where instead of one
Uh,
person has one vote about the president or the senator that they elect into office, a market democracy would be every single action you take can have anywhere from one to millions of votes that are cast that you value. So if you walk into a certain store, you are casting a vote that you value this store. And if you buy a certain product, you're casting like
no, I'm
tens or
familiar with.
hundreds of votes
I know the
that you
metaphor. I get the
okay.
metaphor. Um, it's just the point is that it goes into the rule of law and the importance of force being monopolized. But
So
that's like a whole other thing, bro.
probably.
Yeah,
I know
it's
that
like
objectivists are like not entirely like ANCAP and they sort of it seems like they're tinkering on the line of libertarianism, but I don't
oh my god.
fully
Okay,
I know
I need
you're
to set
gonna
the record
hate
straight.
that.
I need to set the record straight. All right,
Set it straight.
Anar- anarcho-capitalism is not objectivism. That's false.
Oh, yeah, no, I don't yeah, of course.
Okay, okay. So if you are an objectivist, you are not an anarcho-capitalist.
Correct. Yeah.
Now you can be objectivist adjacent. You could be influenced by objectivism. You could be like an objectivist, but you're not. You are not an objectivist if you're an anarcho-capitalist.
So can objectivists believe in different market systems or economic systems?
No.
Okay, so then what market would you say that they all believe in a constitutional republic?
Yes.
Okay. this is weird. So, can objectivism create like the perfect or the ideal constitution?
Yes.
Okay.
That would not be an objectivist idea. That would be an objectivist influenced idea.
Okay, so a corollary and a corollary idea to the objectivist.
So yeah, it's important
Okay,
to distinguish between it's important to distinguish between two types of things. Ideas that are
absolutely.
consistent, ideas that are consistent and follow from objectivism, and ideas that are influenced from objectivist philosophers. Okay? So for example, I think that it's not directly said by Ayn Rand, but my view on like the life of enjoyment, that is an objectivist conclusion that is consistent and implied by Ayn Rand. Okay. Now, that is different than me saying I'm an anarchist. Because being an anarchist is literally contradictory to objectivism. It's explicitly contradictory.
Wait, how come?
Ayn Rand in her essay, the proper role of government, and it's chapter 14 of VOS. She actually literally explicitly says anarchy is immoral.
Now I would assume that she's not talking about left-wing anarchy. She's probably talking about anarcho-capitalism, right?
She's talking about both. Yeah.
Okay. But so this is what I don't understand, because it seems to me that a free market economy is the thing that Ayn Rand advocates for. But
She does. She does support free market economy.
So what are the parameters she would put in place to adjust for the, I don't know, perfect market system besides a completely 100% free market system?
Well, she wants a public court, prison, and police.
Okay, so she wants minimal government, but she wants, like you said, a public court, police, and prison.
She wants a basically public justice system.
But you're so close to like a complete free market. Why would you add in those?
That is a free market.
Why would you add in those few things at the very end?
The concept of market doesn't apply to government. Anyway, it's a whole